Hey guys, Rosie here. Sorry I'm putting this up late. My only excuse is that I'm adjusting to my new life in London and my schedule's everywhere and I keep forgetting what day of the week it is. So, here I am. Okay. Let's see, the first question, this week's topic is marriage, and it's actually very pertinent for me because, as you guys know, I was recently engaged to a trans man, Jack, who is my fiance, obviously. Okay. The first question is, do I think marriage is an important political debate for trans people? I.e., should they fight for gay marriage rights? I think that marriage is an important political debate for anyone. And absolutely for trans people. Because although trans people in their gender, I'm going to say trans men, I'm just going to say trans men right now, okay? In their gender, are men, and thus, in fact, are men, and very often are legally men and can marry. Fundamentally, biologically, they still have female sex characteristics. And as such, are considered by proponents of, anti-gay marriage activists, I guess, to be in the same camp as gay people, Jack cannot get me pregnant. So, the idea of family as a sort of propagation of the species isn't really valid. And for people who look at people according to their genitals, there's still two vaginas there. So, yeah, I think it's a very important political debate, even though legally, Jack and I can marry. In the realm of theory, it very much involves trans people. And it very much involves trans people because the issue could very easily expand into kind of encroaching on trans rights. So, do I think... Oh, let's see. How are trans people included or not included in the current marriage debate? Well, I think I just kind of covered that. I think they're included kind of in a side, non-explicitly stated way because of, physical sex. How do you feel about marriage in general? How important or unimportant is it? To me, it was never important until I met Jack. And then very early on, though we didn't admit it to each other, it became very important to both of us. So at this point, it's very important to me. And I have to admit that I am very glad that Jack and I can be married and be recognized as a legally and fully married couple anywhere in the United States. That is a blessing. That is a blessing. And one that I never assumed I would have. With my partner, so. How do you feel about a legal marriage versus a civil union? This is something that's, really complicated, and I think I'm actually not going to get into this subject, because it is a political versus religious, debate that I think is kind of moot. And what I think about political rights is very different than what I think about, the theory in which, the theory of it is that I want everyone to have the same rights with their partner, and that marriage is traditionally a religious institution. So I prefer that everyone just have civil unions, but, fundamentally I support the transference of marriage rights to everyone, because in this country, marriage is the only fully valid form of legal relationship. So, what are the laws like in your state or area concerning marriage and trans people, gay marriage, etc.? Well, in Massachusetts, where I go to school, obviously gay marriage is legal. And trans marriage is a moot point because it's not taken into consideration if someone has an F on their birth certificate and they're getting married to a woman. Obviously in Massachusetts that's legal, and if they have an M, that's seen as a heterosexual marriage. So, you know. In Oregon, there are no restrictions on trans people marrying whoever they marry, unless they have an M on their birth certificate and there's an M on the birth certificate of their partner. Unfortunately, no matter how much I love my state, several years ago there was in fact an amendment to the Constitution passed by the people of Oregon, which I'm incredibly ashamed of, saying that marriage is defined as an institution between a man and a woman. So, Jack and I could still get married in Oregon because I am female and he is male. And our birth certificates confirm that. But we couldn't get married if his birth certificate still had an F on it. So that's very unfortunate. For gay marriage, civil unions are offered in Oregon, I believe, and plenty of people are married in that sense. But I'm actually not sure if they are anymore. I feel like maybe that changed. For a long time, a lot of people were going into one county in Oregon, Multnomah County, where Portland is, because that county government had said that they would grant civil unions to gay couples, and a lot of people got married. And then there was this huge debate as to whether, after that amendment went through, as to whether the marriages were still valid and blah, blah, blah. And so I think actually civil unions aren't offered anymore. But anyways, fundamentally, Oregon kind of screwed up on that one. How does your fiance feel about marriage in general? Very positive. I mean, we mutually asked each other to marry us anyway, but he did sort of take the first step. Even though he chickened out on actually asking me, he did buy me an engagement ring. But he didn't say it was an engagement ring. Anyways, he feels very positively towards marriage. And, I mean, we're both really excited to get married, so, for us, marriage is not really a touchy subject, and it's not fraught with any sort of, emotional, burden or anything. I think that both of us just feel very blessed to not even have to question our right to be married. And, just really recognize the privilege that has been placed on us because of Jack's being trans. That is, it's funny to say, but we've never had to think of what state we need to get married in. And whether or not we're going to have those same rights if we go to another state. And, we feel, that's a huge blessing. And I personally wish it on everyone who wants to get married, of course. But I just wish that anyone, even if they don't want to get married, doesn't have to think about that. Because it's something that is just an undeniable right for anyone. And that legitimacy. So, I think that's all. And I'm gonna go, but I'll see you guys all next week. Hopefully on Friday this time. Alright.